In Minnesota today, I don't think, well, I guess you do need a little luck to garden because I must have none because I was just telling Pat Rice before we hit the airwaves that last year she was nice enough to bring me a hosta and I killed it. Pat Rice and Emily Nesvold are with us from the Grows organization of Faribault. Have you ever heard of anybody killing a hosta before?
Oh, people have.
Seriously? You're just saying that to be nice.
I have killed one, two, I don't know, but they are pretty rugged plants. It is hard to kill them, but it's possible.
You've never killed one, right, Emily?
I have not
Yeah.
yet, but it may happen.
No, I did. I planted it in the shade. Evidently, I didn't water it enough. That'll do it,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Probably.
Although I was told they're pretty much indestructible.
That's true. I suppose some of the smaller varieties may have a little more problem, but a lot of them that we have here are pretty indestructible.
And how many varieties did you tell me there are?
I think there are hundreds.
There are, there's a place up in Edina that has, well, there are thousands.
Is it
really.
thousands?
Yes. Yes.
A variety, different varieties?
Yes.
Uh-huh.
Yes.
Well, that's interesting.
They have many miniature ones that are, I mean, really small. I know there was a garden up in near Minnetonka, and this Asian woman was cultivating these, and she had over 100 small varieties.
Wow.
Little tiny ones. She had all planted around a tree, and labeled, and all those good things.
I'm sure you've gathered by now that Emily and Pat are both with the Faribault Grows organization, which stands for Gardeners Reaching Out with Service.
Correct.
Are you pioneers? Were you, when it started, were you involved?
Partly, and then I left and then came back, I guess.
How about you, Emily?
I'm fairly new.
Yeah.
I think this is about my 5th year. with
Oh,
the
okay. When did this
organization.
start, Pat?
Over 20 years ago.
Has your plant sale been every year too?
No, they didn't start the plant sale right in the beginning. There were more programs and educational things, and then I'm not sure. I know the plant sale's gone on for more than 10 years, and basically members harvest things out of their gardens and bring them in and pot them and bring them in for people to purchase. And sometimes we get some really wonderful people who are not members but thinning out their own gardens, and they bring us a bunch of donations to sell that morning too. So that's nice.
Cool.
Yeah.
And the proceeds really benefit the city.
All the proceeds go for planting trees around the community. On Arbor Day, we had a little celebration, and we purchased 4 trees, which cost $1,200 because we don't want to buy little things that are going to die. And then we put plants in Central Park as well. And those of you who go to the concerts in the park can enjoy. I mean, that's really a lovely little garden there at the crossroads. And then there are 2 other spots that we tend to, so makes our Central Park look nice and saves the city.
Yeah. Has there been any thought of, I suppose you don't have enough members to expand to other parks?
Well, we haven't talked about that yet. We have talked about a possibility of an expansion project with the city, but I don't think I can talk about it yet because we still need to talk to the city.
Bummer. I was hoping we could, have a scoop here.
We did have a rain garden up at, or a garden up at the Nature Center, but they wanted to create a rain garden, so that morphed into something different.
Oh, well, that makes sense. And then I know there's been some pollinator gardens that have been done in some of the schools as a school project.
Yeah, I think a lot of people are looking at it, and of course now there's a lot of growing interest in helping our bee pollinators, and just fascinating how different things that people are doing and planting in their gardens just to bring bees back. And along the highways, that's another thing nationally, along 35W from Texas up to here, they're encouraging people to plant bee-friendly plants.
Bring back those monarch butterflies too.
Yes.
Yeah. Yes.
Used to see many of them when I was a kid. I mean, everywhere.
I think last year we had an interesting trip that we took for Grows over to, there's a gal in Morristown, is it? In Warsaw, actually, in Warsaw. And she gets the caterpillars, puts them in this thing that she's created, and gets them to cocoon and come out, and so she's trying to help save the monarch butterflies, and it was a really interesting thing she was doing. But she said she's really not seen as many, and there was a huge episode in South America that killed a bunch of them last year.
Ooh.
So
they had a frost, I think it was, that killed them off. So it was a bad year last year.
Sounds like it. We're going to talk more about Grows. They have their annual plant sale this Saturday. I, on purpose, didn't plug it here in the first segment, so you have to stick around for the second segment. Again, that's on Saturday 8 until noon. But we'll get more details about what they're going to have on that sale, because you might be interested in that when AM Minnesota continues. By the way, tomorrow we have Father Victor Valencia from the Church of St. Patrick's, Shieldsville. They have a mission trip they want to educate us about. We get the details from after the first cutting of alfalfa. Ohio State University saw a yield increase of 18%. Contact Abe at Performance Seed and Insurance in Medford. Northland Buildings for quality post-frame construction. Head to the website northlandbuildings.com. And Ag Power Enterprises, your John Deere dealer. They're located in Owatonna, Hollandale, Belle Plaine, also Osage and Northwood, Iowa. Get on AM Minnesota. Today we're talking about the faribault gardening organization called Grows, gardeners reaching out with service. Been around for over 2 decades. Pat Rice, Emily Nesvold are with us. Pat is, was one of the pioneers and then left for a while and then came back. And Emily is kind of a newbie.
Yes.
5 years. How do people join your organization?
I heard about it, and they have meetings monthly starting in February, and I wanted to learn more about gardening because I'm a trial by error gardener.
Sure.
So that's why I joined, really, and then I found out these people do these wonderful things like Central Park and trees for the city. And
It's very expensive. The dues are $5 a year.
Oh, geez.
And they have not changed since they were founded. They've kept it at $5. And we meet the second Monday evening of the month at Faribault Senior Center.
That's why your plant sale's in the Senior Center parking lot.
Well, we just moved there now, actually. We'd been at River Bend forever, but there's some conflicts in the timing, so we've moved to the Senior Center, who graciously offered us some space there. And we've had the plant sale in the parking lot for a long time. It's a great location. There's lots of people drive by that location, and they look for the plant sale too, because the prices are extremely reasonable on the plants that we sell. Well, I mean, some of the hostas might be $2. There are some $10 ones, because some people have some more exotic plants that they might sell for more. And most of the members donate. They dig up the plants and bring them down, and they donate what they sell. We do have a plan that if somebody has some special plants, they could get half of what the cost was back, but most of the people just donate. And they have everything from, we talked about hostas, but people have irises and ferns, and we had lilacs one year. We have rhubarb sometimes. What?
Maybe rose bushes?
I'm not sure that we've had rose bushes, but anything's possible.
Okay.
Because people are harvesting out of their own gardens, and some people are getting rid of some things, and so they're well labeled. So we have an area with shade plants and an area with sun plants. And we used to haul tables out and put them all on tables, and one year we thought, let's just put them on the ground. And it saved us a lot of work, because people can come and look at them on pots on the ground just as easy as on tables. And sometimes we get some house plants. I don't know, what else have we had, Emily?
Well, there were really well labeled, so that if you want sun, you can go to that area.
Sure.
And so on. So, well, one year I have this exotic wild ginger that's speckled with yellow, and I brought that down. That went right away, though. But sometimes we do have really interesting pieces like that.
And we do have a master gardener on site. So if people have some questions, they can ask questions of the master gardener, because many of us are, like Emily said, we're trial and error to some extent. And but we have, I'd say, primarily perennials.
Yes. Once in a while, though, some of us will make a little, a potted arrangement that you can find.
And often we'll have herbs, so if somebody wants to do an herb garden, they can get plants to put in the ground for growing chives or parsley or some other stuff.
Have you learned a lot with the gardening club?
I have. I still have a lot to learn, but I've learned a lot, yes. And not only that, I've had fun.
Well,
it's a fun group, yes.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And it's open to anyone who would like to come in to our meetings, or open to, we're not snooty. We're
And you don't
down to
really,
earth.
You don't really have to be a gardener if
No.
you just want to learn something about it. We've had programs from bees to bonsai to we've had field trips to a winery, learning a little bit about the grapes, and so it's been pretty varied.
No, well, that makes sense. I know recently you did a pollinator-friendly event, right?
Mm-hmm.
How'd that go?
Well, We've actually had 2 on pollinators this year already. We're
Okay.
really interested in pollinators.
I've noticed, I was over to Kenyon here last few weeks, and then I noticed more people seem to be letting their dandelions grow, and my speculation is they want to be friendly to the bees.
I don't know.
I mean, I don't know that for a fact, but I just noticed that there are more dandelions over there than there used to be.
There's a bumper crop this year, I think.
Well, and I don't know that people are spraying for it for obvious,
Yeah,
you know,
that could be.
environmental
Yeah,
reasons.
exactly.
How about you? You keep dandelions in your yard?
I don't like them there.
Okay.
I dig some. Last year I had to succumb to spraying for. I've had creeping Charlie that was killing the
me
grass,
too.
and I've tried all kinds of other things, and I don't like to. I remember years ago when I moved in, I had bumper crops of giant angleworms in the yard in the spring when we'd have a rain. I have not seen that for years, and I really think it's probably from all the spraying, because I have neighbors who spray annually, so it's chemicals that come in. So it has to harm some of that stuff, and I don't think they were native actually to the U.S. anyway, the worms, but
They weren't, no.
Yeah.
I learned that at Grows.
Yeah, because I
Well,
remember
there
in
you
the
go.
deaf
She
school,
learned that it grows.
the deaf school would have just hundreds of them. People were out there getting them for fishing, but that's in the past 50 years that's changed.
Isn't that interesting? How about you, Emily?
I'm
Are
sorry.
you a dandelion person, or?
Well, we have dandelions. I tease my husband that they're his favorite flower.
Oh my!
But I have harvested the greens, and they're good stick them in your
yes.
salad. They're good.
Oh, that'd be
And some people make dandelion wine. I haven't had-
dandelion soup. You ever had
Soup?
dandelion soup?
No.
Somebody, one of the ladies when my mom was still alive up at Pleasant View Estates, I'd go up and eat lunch with her, and one of the ladies that sat with us every day, God rest her soul, used to tell us that she made dandelion soup.
I've not
Never
tried
heard of that.
Said they pretty much lived on it during the Great Depression.
Well, people get creative.
You know what I mean?
I mean,
Those
they're
are
not,
some tough
dandelion
times.
stuff is not harmful. I mean, there are some things like rhubarb, for example. Some of the leaves are harmful.
Yeah.
A friend told me they harvested the rhubarb and throw the leaves over the fence into the cow pasture. A cow died. Just came over and was eating all the rhubarb leaves, and they're harmful to some animals.
I'll be darned.
Our horses won't eat them. I mean,
They know.
yeah.
They just, by nature, know. You
Yes.
don't eat rhubarb leaves.
Yes.
I bet the goats
Of
would.
course,
though.
they're not real hungry, you know. So maybe if they were starving, they would eat them.
Well, yeah, kind of like the dandelion soup thing.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So it kind of made me curious. I'm going to have to find a recipe for that someday and try it.
Yeah, rhubarb is bumper crop this year too.
Yes.
People said the rhubarb is great. They've already been making bacon stuff. So
Oh, I love rhubarb. We used to have rhubarb when I was a kid. Mom made the best rhubarb crisp. Oh, it's good stuff. So we're not here to talk about rhubarb.
Yeah.
We're here to talk about gardeners reaching out with service. So we already established the fact that you do some trees in all the parks in town, right?
we've had trees in lots of different places. Yeah, and the city staff basically maintain them after the trees are in, but we pay
And they
for
tell
them.
you
and-
where they need trees? Or?
Yeah, we have a tree committee that's part of Grows, and we meet with Paul Panansky from the city, and we collaborate then with the city crews to figure out where they have need for things to be planted. And we've learned over the time, like, you don't plant small stuff, you plant bigger stuff. I mean, people can still cut them down, but the value of a tree in your yard is just tremendous for air conditioning and for protection. And so our urban forest here in Faribault is terrific. And I would, a lot of people have, including myself, have lost trees. We really encourage people to replant because they'd help not only that homeowner, but the whole city of Faribault benefits from having those.
So Emerald Ash Borer is right near us.
Mm-hmm.
It's in Goodhue County, it's in Dakota County, it's in Ramsey County. Probably only a matter of time, right?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
You're in Rice County?
I would assume so.
Yeah.
And we've tried to plant a variety of trees also, because one time everybody planted elms, and then when Dutch elm disease came, we lost so much. So we're trying to plant a variety, and there are some resistant varieties of thing now. There's a Dutch elm resistant elm now, and I think we have purchased a couple of those. But we again work with the city crew and decide. This year they went at South Alexander. We put 4 in. We put some in by the parking thing off of Highway Old County Road, Lindale, where they have that bathroom and stuff, and people can park. We put some there. We put some by the Chamber of Commerce. We put some lots of places around town. We work with the city staff and meet. Probably starting in January, and then decide. And then we work on the Arbor Day celebration, where we plant that. We focus on that to plant the trees.
You remember what kind of trees you planted over in South Alexander?
Well, I think a Japanese elm maybe was one.
I think there was a maple. Let's see, it's in here.
Yeah.
Yeah. I've been thinking about putting a maple in my backyard.
Mm-hmm.
Japanese lilac, maples, and oaks. That's what we planted.
Had a big lilac bush that I tore down when I put in my garage.
Mm-hmm. Mm. Yeah, so when you think about it, we spent about $400 a tree, because we bought 4 trees for $1,200. So we're buying reasonable trees and getting good stock, and hoping they'll stay. And
that was probably my mistake. I put in a tree to replace a tree in my yard, and it died.
Oh. So that's where people coming to shop on Saturday, their money will basically come back to them, because it comes back to the city, as we keep nothing for ourselves that grows. And again, with $5 membership, we have probably about 35 members, maybe.
I'm thinking so.
Something like that. So we don't earn a lot in dues per year, but we're lucky to have many people who volunteer to come and do our programs. We might have paid them gas or something, but we've had really good luck and good fortune to have people coming. And we've toured different gardens around. We've gone field trips every year, so we find and see different things and what's growing and what's happening. And
did you do a tour of Buddy Koopman's yard?
Yes.
We have, yes.
Boy, I went there a couple summers ago. Wow.
Yeah.
I walked in his backyard, and it was just amazing.
Yes. And that didn't just happen.
No,
they spend hours of work. People think, well, it just comes up. And
they both love gardening.
yes, and every day they're out there, whether gardening or watering or taking weeds out. And so it's very lovely, and it speaks to them and all the work they've done to make it happen.
Most definitely. So you do some vegetable gardening too, Emily, or is it just flowers?
I live in the woods out by near Strand Park, so I don't get to do much, and we don't have enough sunlight for vegetables.
Oh, okay. So you're right in the forest, basically.
So to speak,
I mean,
yes.
in the wood.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
And you, Pat, live on the east side.
Mm-hmm. I'm too. The same problem she has. I have too many trees around. I have a little bit of sunlight in the front yard, and I've tried to put my tomatoes out there, but I can't say they've done terrific. But you just have to have good sun for that.
Well, I've had good luck with my tomatoes, I would say, on the west side of the house. Get a lot of sun.
Mm-hmm. That's what they need. Sun and heat. And
one thing about our sale too is that our plants are hardy. They're plants that have wintered over in the area, so that they should make it. Unless you don't water your hosta.
Yeah. Only person I know that can kill a hosta. No
what Emily says is very true, because you don't know when you buy it. Other places, it's not. I mean, supposedly it'll be hardy here, but these have been in faribault ground, and they usually transfer really well.
Yeah, they're used to our soil.
And some of the hostas that come in, you can take them home and split them into 4. So it's a good bargain for people, and it's a fun morning. Just again 8 to noon. It's not very long, and in the end sometimes we've contributed stuff to other places that need some things, and so it's worked out really well over the years.
I'm just going to look at the forecast for Saturday.
But if anybody wants anything rare, or anything rare like your ginger, you got to come right away, because
it goes fast.
Yeah, it goes fast.
Well, see, Saturday it says there's a chance of rain in a high of 51.
That's a good day to come shopping for plants.
Wow, it says 100% chance of rain.
Whew.
I'd say they're pretty sure, wouldn't you?
Mm-hmm.
I would say it's going to rain Saturday.
It's rained before on your plant.
Oh,
day.
sure.
Yes.
But we got a lot of hardy people that come back every year, which is a really nice thing, because they usually know what they're looking for, and they know they can find it. So that's helped us certainly.
And it'll be a good day to look at our plants, and purchase plants, because you can't do much else in the rain.
No, that's true. I would guess gardeners are not fended off by the rain. We have a high allergy index today too. Cloudy skies, 49 degrees currently in downtown Faribault. We are visiting with Pat Rice and Emily Nesvold. They're involved with Grows, gardeners reaching out with service here in Faribault. There's some other gardening clubs and area communities. You get together with some of those folks, or?
We haven't really. I don't think met with other gardening clubs, but we have gone to different places to look at gardens. And that's really a fun thing to go on if you have a chance, anybody, to go on a gardening tour.
The Arboretum?
Yeah, the Northfield Gardening Club, I think it's the gardening club, they offer a trip to the Twin Cities, a bus trip. And one of their members picks out a half a dozen or 5 gardens to go to. And it was quite an interesting trip I took at one time. And so, and people are welcome on our trips also. We usually advertise them in the paper. We went down to Ames, Iowa one time and saw the gardening connected with the college there. There's a lovely garden down there that you can see. And
the Tulip Festival in Pella, you went
we
to
haven't
that?
gone there. We've gone to Mankato.
That's a good idea, though.
You
Yeah.
didn't tiptoe through the tulips?
Yeah. The hard thing with that is you don't know if they're really going to be up. I mean, that's very weather dependent. So if you plan your trip some time before, it's beautiful. And they replant all their tulips every year. So there are new tulips coming up. It's quite lovely.
This summer we're taking a trip over to the Japanese gardens in Northfield.
I thought you were going to say Japan. I'd love to join you on that trip. It's on my bucket list.
To go to Japan?
Yeah.
Ah.
Yeah. I'd really like to do that. I'd like to go to China. I want to see the Great Wall of China. I think that'd be awesome. The astronauts say it's the only man-made thing they can see from space.
Really?
Is the Great Wall of China. I read that somewhere.
I think I saw a picture someplace of that from the spaceship.
The Great
Shuttle.
Wall. Isn't that something? It's amazing. We're all on this planet.
Actually, the Asians have been wonderful gardeners. And we have received...
That's where the hostas came from, isn't
well, hostas, I think, came
Yes.
from there, and lots of Japanese things. Actually, do you know where tulips came from? Where
Well,
would...
it was the Dutch, hasn't it?
No, tulips are from Turkey.
I did not know that.
I didn't either, but I know that sometimes they're developed over here and then shipped over. The Dutch grow them and then ship them back to us.
We had a problem one of the first years with grows. We did the stuff by the band shell. There's stuff in front of the band shell. And we thought, well, look at tulips. They'll come up every year. Well, they were not tried and true tested in Faribault soil. So it was a failure. They just did not come up.
No kidding.
No, And with the Dutch, you have to get things that are, these just didn't grow here. I guess we didn't check carefully enough. And that area gets kind of tramped on a lot too with people, and we always worry when the fair is out there that we hope people stay away from the gardens themselves. And people are welcome. We have some friends that go out when they go to the concerts. They stop at our gardens and weed a little bit.
I noticed that, yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
That's nice. That's nice.
Because there are always trees that volunteers that come up that you don't want there. And we had one problem with one area at the park that it was an invasive weed that came in, and we were trying to kill it and having real difficulty. So I haven't been out there to look lately, but we're hoping that most of that was killed off. And we moved stuff over and replanted different things in it. And so hopefully that was helpful in that garden. And the one rock garden that's on Second kind of takes care of itself. It really has. We haven't had to do much weeding because it's so thick with planting, but we have in the one at the crossroads of the park. Dug up, separated, moved. We've done a lot of different things in that, but it's a nice, colorful little garden there, and we have mostly perennials in there, so that works really well for us.
Well, I know the seniors water the flowers up and down along Main Street, the flower pots.
And they're lovely.
I don't think we ever, I'm sure some people have measured it, but just the value of having like that in a city for beautification and how that maybe boosts your efforts. I know when I drive into a new town, he's like, boy, this looks really well cared for. Or if they have some plantings, that's just a really positive thing that you see that. And so I have to believe that it helps things in our community as well.
Got a little phone issue there, right?
A little extra music.
Sorry.
That's okay. Emily's very, very popular. Very popular. It always happens to me too. I'll be broadcasting a ball game and somebody will keep calling and calling and calling. I'll even hold the phone up to my mouth doing the broadcast, and think they'll get the hint and they still call back. Like, so-and-so's in the wind-up and, that kind of thing. And And they still call.
Well, I've learned not to bring my phone in.
They don't get the drift there. Anyway, gardeners reaching out with service. Again, if I'd like to become a member, it's only $5 per year. And did you say every second Monday of the month?
The second Monday of the month at 7 o'clock.
Starting in
Okay.
February.
We meet, I'm trying to think what months don't we meet? November, December, January, we do not meet.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
So through October.
Mhm.
Second Monday, February through October.
Mhm.
You meet.
Yes.
Mhm.
And you always have some sort of informative event at your meeting?
Yeah,
Yes.
or with one meeting we have a potluck and people bring stuff for a silly silent auction.
That's a lot of fun too.
I'll bet it is.
And we have had also a really fun thing. Again, we have some master gardeners in our club, and we encourage people to do a pot during the summer, and then we have kind of a contest that you bring your stuff. And we have had the most interesting containers that people have put things in, and that's made it kind of fun just to see what they've done.
And
And
milk cans and milk jugs and toilets.
you can.
Real creativity. It's great.
I mean, she showed us that some people use old boots, cowboy
Yeah.
boots, and
Oh, yeah.
plant stuff in those, old bird houses, and put things in. So, and I don't know what the thing was called, but it was a circular metal thing that had little, almost like a mini Ferris wheel, if you want to think about it. They planted things in all the little boxes, some succulents. And it was a piece of farm equipment. I don't know what it was, but I thought little langers. They planted it. It was just the cutest thing you ever saw. And we've had also one of our master gardeners did a thing on the fairy gardens, because that's been really popular now to plant those, where you put little plants and have little things in it.
Okay. Well, again, 8 in the morning till noon are the hours of the plant sale. And if you want some of your more rare plants, get there early, right?
Mm-hmm.
'Cause those go in a hurry.
Mm-hmm.
8 until noon. Fantastic.
And
Yeah.
all the proceeds come back to the community,
They
so
do.
that's the best part of it.
Trees in the parks and the flowers for the Central Park.
Yeah,
flower
so it's all and actually we do track our volunteer hours, because every person is supposed to work at least like 5 hours a year in volunteering.
That's part of your dues, huh?
Mhm.
$5 and 5 hours a year of community service. Well, what a great idea. Thanks, ladies, for stopping by, and good luck with your plant sale on Saturday.
We'll see that you get another hosta.
No, that's okay. 8 until noon. I'd hate to kill another one, because then I'd really feel bad. 8 until noon. I feel bad for killing the first one. I mean, I didn't understand how I could do that. But maybe my soil's not real good on the north side of my house either. That concludes today's edition of AM Minnesota on KDHL AM Faribault, Minnesota.